When we're talking about British newspapers, we have to think of a kind of division. There are what we call the quality newspapers and what we call the tabloid newspapers. The quality papers are the ones that more educated people read, and they tend to be more influential newspapers. And basically, these papers are The Guardian, The Times, The Daily Telegraph, The Financial Times, and then The Independent. The Independent is an online-only newspaper. The tabloid newspapers are Daily Mail, Daily Mirror, Daily Express, The Sun. Those are the main ones. These are more popular kind of newspapers. They concentrate a lot on football and other sports, on movie stars, TV personalities, cooking, these kind of things. The main differences between the newspapers in England is that they are very much influenced by politics. So the Times is a kind of centre newspaper. The Daily Telegraph is a right-of-centre newspaper. The Guardian is a left-of-centre newspaper. The Financial Times is quite neutral. And The Independent, I would say, is also fairly neutral. You need to be aware that for some of these newspapers, you have to pay. Most people who are looking at English newspapers online will find that they are looking at The Guardian, which is the quality newspaper that is free to read online. And of the popular newspapers, they will tend to be looking at the Daily Mail, which is full of stories about pop stars and movie stars and so on. That is free to read online. The tabloid newspapers in England also are politically aligned. Some are on the left, like the Daily Mirror. Most are on the right, like the Daily Mail, the Daily Express, the Sun, amongst others. You have to be careful when you're reading newspapers for your English, because newspapers have a special language. I can tell you how that language works, and you don't want to speak. It sounds as if you're like a newspaper. What is good about newspapers is that in some of the newspapers you can find very useful colloquial English, everyday English. And the newspaper that's especially good for that, I would say, is The Guardian. The Guardian is divided into sections. Some of the sections of The Guardian are to do with everyday life: home, garden, marriage, children, holidays, houses, that kind of thing. And some of the writers for The Guardian are very good at writing as if they were speaking. And that's a very good way to improve your colloquial everyday vocabulary. If you have any questions about English newspapers, please get in touch, and I'm very happy to tell you more. For writing skills, well, if you're thinking about higher levels of language, you want to be looking at the Times newspaper, but unfortunately that is behind a paywall. In other words, you have to pay for a subscription. If you can find a copy of the Times in a library or find it online somewhere, the Times has very good writers.